After another challenging year, we've got to Old Trafford. Saturday night, it's a Betfred Grand Final. Yeah, 6 o'clock Saturday night at Old Trafford. Sky's coverage starts at 4:30, so make sure you join in. Right, two grand final winners alongside me. Paul Sculthorpe, 4 times, is that right?
Yes.
And obviously we'll be tipping up St Helens. And Adrian Morley, you won it in 2005. And, of course, won the NRL version as well.
That's right, yeah.
The only Brit to do both.
That's right.
James Maloney can do both tomorrow as well, can he?
Yeah, there's a number of Australians and Kiwis who've got that feat, but I'm very proud to say the only Englishmen to have won over here and down under.
I'm going to mention the C word once, COVID. It's been a tough few months. We've obviously lost a few games, but we've got to the grand final, Scully. And let's be honest, we've got the best two teams as well in the grand final.
Yeah, it's been another tough year, hasn't it? You've got to respect everybody, you know, from the RFL Super League, all the clubs, all the players, you know, to get to where we've got to. And could it be any more perfect finish? I think it's the game that everybody wants to see. It's, for me, it's the league leaders against possibly the best team in the competition.
Now,
Scully's obviously going to tip Saints. Are you going to tip Catalans? Can Catalans upset them?
Do you know what? From a neutral point of view, I think it's fantastic. Catalans have made the grand final. You know, it gives the league a bit more credibility. Another team getting there, because there's only been 4 teams who've actually won this competition, and one of them's in the championship now. So great, another team's got there, but can they get their name on the trophy? I'm not too sure, really. I just think the experience Saints have got in playing in these big games, and in particular the grand final, my heart says Catalans, but I just think Saints will have a bit too much.
Saints are the favourites, who are both making out yesterday. The underdogs, Kristian Woolf and Steve McNamara, but Saints are the favourites around 2-5. Right, we're not just going to build up to the grand final tomorrow night. We're going to build up to the women's grand final on Sunday. That's live on Sky at 3 o'clock. We've got the League One playoff as well, and we've got the £1 million game. So loads of rugby league to build up to, but we want you to get involved. Lewis is standing by. Lewis, how do we get in touch?
Well, comment, YouTube, Facebook, tweet us. Send an airmail, pigeon mail. We'll get it in the show somehow, Mark.
Yes, the world's changed, hasn't it? Social networking when I was a lad was meeting your mates in the pub. But come on, you can even send me abuse. Get on Twitter, get on Facebook. These fellas will answer any of your questions. We're here for the next hour, building up to 4 fantastic games of rugby league. But let's start our grand final build-up, 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Let's hear from the coach, and he's a coach of the year as well. Let's hear from the coach of the Catalan Dragons, Steve McNamara. Steve, you've just had a walk round with your team. How does this feel?
Yeah, it's brilliant. You know, it's what you work all season for. You know, your first steps in pre-season, your dream, your hope. You hope your team comes together to give yourself an opportunity to come and play, and it never disappoints. Whenever you walk inside the stadium, it never disappoints you.
And can you put into words the journey you've had? I mean, £1 million game, and then just 4 years later, you're in the grand final.
Yeah. There's so many people who've worked so hard for that period of 4 years, and people before that. But we're a young club. We're only 16 years old as a club, so we're still building our foundations, if you like. We're playing against teams with a history of over 100 years of experience, and we're still building that. So, but the last 4 years in particular, the effort that has been made by everybody involved in the club to push it from the £1 million game to representing France and Catalan in our first grand final is immense.
And you won the League Leaders' Shield this year.
Yeah, we deserved to. You know, we deserved to. We were good all season. We were very humble in our victories. We didn't get too disappointed when we lost. We kept it really level, and I felt we deserved to finish top. We deserved to be in the grand final, but now we've got to earn the right to deserve to win this grand final, and 80 minutes will decide that on Saturday night.
Has consistency been the key this season?
Yeah, without doubt, it has. We have different build-ups with our travel from France, but I think the consistency over the last 2 seasons, obviously we're in the grand final this year, we was in the major semi-final last year, so it's been something that's happened over a period of time. It doesn't just happen overnight. You've got to keep working hard at those things, and even after this season finishes, we've got to continue that moving forward as a club.
There we are, Steve McNamara talking to me at Old Trafford yesterday. We all had a look around ahead of the press conference. Right, before we talk Carolina Dragons, let's talk Steve McNamara. So he took over in 2017, Scully. He had the £1 million game. Then he won the Challenge Cup against all odds in 2018, didn't he? Then they won the League Leaders' Shield. What a job he has done.
He has. He's done a magnificent job, hasn't he? I think he spoke about it there, of how they've continued to grow, and they haven't got the history of what some of the other Super League clubs have got. Steve's a great fella. He's got all the experience. Obviously, he was in the England role for a long period of time, so he's used to performing at the top level. And he's done a magnificent job at Catalan. They've really built a strong squad. They've got some key individual players in there that I think have probably changed that culture. And he talked then about consistency, and I think that has been the difference over the past. He spoke about the last 2 years, not just this year, but more consistency in their performances, and rightly deserved the League Leaders' Shield.
What kind of job do you think he's done then?
Fantastic. I think you mentioned the Challenge Cup win against Warrington. I think that was the catalyst, really. No one gave them a chance, and then they come over.
Well, no one gave them a chance in the semi-finals either, did they? Against Saints that year?
No, you're right. Well, they come over here, got the victory, and I think that win, that gave them the confidence then, and, we've seen him, Scully mentioned, they're a lot more consistent now, and making, the grand final, which is the next tick on the box, so, it's hard enough making it, but then they've got to win it, but as I say, they did get the win down there at Wembley, so there's no reason why they can't go out there and win. It's going to be tough, but absolutely fantastic job he's done over there, and it's great for French Rugby League. I'm a purist. I want to see a very strong French competition domestically, but and also a very strong international team, because that gives England, a bit of a match as well. So it's great that the French game is thriving at the moment.
I wanted to talk about that. Rugby League gets slagged off or whatever, M62 corridor. What does it mean for Rugby League, the Catalan Dragons winning the League Leaders' Shield?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about expansion, and I think I spoke to somebody today about it, and it was like when Catalan first come in, and everyone's going, "Oh, there's just going to be a team full of Australians," and what do they bring? But you look at that team now, and the French development, of young players coming through like Archimorg. You look at the crowd that they draw. You couldn't get a ticket last week at the Brutus Stadium.
The atmosphere for that semi-final against Hull Cow was brilliant,
They've done a magnificent job, and all credit to Bernard Gauche, who's stuck by this all the way through, and you can see his passion, within the game, and it is great to see that. And obviously with Toulouse doing so well as well, if they win the £1 million game, we've got a French derby in Super League that'll add even more spice.
Because the Catalans only joined the Super League as well in 2006.
Yeah, and like you said, they've not got that history and the ability to build, from below, because they've never had that structure. And Steve spoke about that, and I think they're starting to get that. And obviously, at the top end, they're as good as anybody.
Saints have obviously won the last 2 years, Moz. Got the experience, been there, seen it, done it. Obviously, very different last year. But if you look at the experience in this Catalan side, Tom Davis has won it with Wigan, Gil Dudson's won it with Wigan, Mickey McAlorum, of course, has won it with Wigan, Joel Tomkins has won it with Wigan, Sam Tomkins won it 3 times. So there's plenty, James Maloney's won it with Sydney Roosters like yourself. There's plenty of grand final experience in that Catalan side.
There is, and a number of their players also played in the Challenge Cup final a couple of years ago, and you don't win League Leaders' Shield by fluke, so they have been very consistent, so they'll come over confident. You've mentioned before Saints are favourites, but they'll come over and they're just going to enjoy the experience and hopefully try and get the win. But absolutely fantastic, you're right, and the players who have got the experience, they're going to give Saints a go. Don't worry about that.
And Scully, how much did you enjoy that last 5 minutes at Magic? By the way,
what a crazy game! But just
could that be a good thing for Saints, though?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You learn.
We talk about game management. That was non-existent in that 5 minutes.
You learn from things like that of Saints were so dominant in that game for 75 minutes and then just completely switched off. All credit to Catalan, they kept playing and they threw everything at them and managed to somehow get a win. If I was talking to Peter this morning and saying about what odds would that have been, for 30 points to 12 with literally 5 minutes left of beating the double champions, and all credit to Catalan, but it adds even more spice to this game, doesn't it? That was the last time that the two teams met, and I think both teams will learn from it.
And I presume you do a lot of video analysis nowadays. They'll have watched that last 5 minutes again this week, won't they, Saints?
Yeah, I don't know whether they will have done, because I think it was just a different 5 minutes. It was just a complete switch off, from how they played in the first 75 minutes of the game. I don't think they'll look too much into that. What they'll look at is what they did well within that game and things they can improve on.
I think you're right though, Mark. It will be a big motivating factor for St Helens. What not to do. As you say, they were so dominant all game. Switch off for the last 7 minutes, and that's what can happen. So they need to get it right for the full 80 minutes. But to be fair, they have been doing that in lots and lots of games, and they've got experience in the grand final. They know what it takes to win a grand final. So I expect them to be doing that on Saturday night.
Plenty more build-up to come. Just one question in this section, though. Steve McNamara, started talking about him. Coach of the Year, completely deserved. I thought he spoke really well as well on Monday night when he got the Betfred Coach of the Year. You played against him, didn't you, in the final?
Yeah, I've played against Steve.
1999, wasn't it?
99, yeah, which was my first grand final for Saints. He was a great player.
He was forward for
a real
Bradford.
smart footballer, Steve. And he's took that knowledge into his coaching philosophies, and I think his biggest strength is you can see what kind of character he is when you're in and around with him. His man management is first class. He's a real likeable bloke, and players want to play for him.
And he's got that culture in Perpignan as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's definitely
taken to it.
I mean, he's really bought into the lifestyle in the south of France, and change the ways maybe he does things and to accommodate the players that he works with. And as you say, he's got a lot of experienced players around him now, like Sam Tomkins and James Maloney, who will also be the senior players group helping Steve and creating that culture around these younger players.
Right then, Lewis, have we got any comments, questions for the fellas, or even abuse for me?
No abuse for you yet, Mark, but that's because I haven't sent any myself. Dave said Catalans are going to win 100%. Keith says St Helens are going to win 100%. So it's good that we're all agreed at this stage. It is going to be a close game, isn't it? We've had a couple that have come in across the day for the fellas, and one from Chris earlier was for Moz. Obviously, we've mentioned you won it once over here and one in Australia. Would you have swapped that Australian ones for a couple more of the Super League ones at Old Trafford?
No, because getting the win down under, I joined a bit of an elite bunch of
the only British player to do it.
Well, I think at the time when I won it, there was only about 6 English players who'd won a grand final down under. So to join that elite group was very special. I mean, there's been a couple more since Sam Burgess and Tom missed out, didn't he, last week. But no, I think I'll stick with the NRL grand final. But having played in a few, it's not very nice losing him, but it's still an achievement playing in one. But you're right, I would have liked to have won a few more Super League titles.
Plenty more build-up to the grand final. We're going from James Roby. We're going to hear from me as St Helens coach as well, Kristian Woolf. We're going to look ahead to the other games. But incredibly, it's 10 years to the day that this man did this.
Lee Gasco, really. Obviously, for the other team, Kevin Sinfield's been there, seen it and done it all before. They're aware of this grinding, relentless game that could take a 79th minute before we get a winner.
Oh, he's got under the Burrow, and he's outstripped Wellens. It's a brilliant Burrow try.
A brilliant Burrow try. 10 years to the day. Now, Leeds won 32-16 that day, but when Rob went over, Scully, it was 2-all, 33 minutes gone. He changed that first half, didn't he?
He did. What a try! The best try that's ever been scored in a grand final, bar none. And what a special player Rob was. And can you believe it's 10 years gone by?
What a player!
Incredible. I used to hate coming up against Rob Burrow. He was so agile, so nippy, and that typified the kind of player he was, ducking under, stepping, and what a fantastic player. But to turn a game of that magnitude on its head, there were deadlocks, and then a moment of magic like that. fantastic try, and he got the man of the match that game, didn't he? And quite rightly so.
He did. He won the Harry Sunderland Trophy that year in 2011. He also won it in 2007, did Rob Burrow. And tomorrow he's going to be giving over the Harry Sunderland Trophy. And this week, Scully and a few more Rob's teammates have been raising money for motor neuron disease.
Here we are at the start of the second half for the Row for Rob Canoe Challenge, 100 miles from Leeds Dock to the Old Trafford Stadium with the match ball via the DW Stadium in Wigan, home of the Wigan Warriors. Day 3 of the challenge, so 25 miles today. Former players Paul Sculthorpe, Dennis Betts and Paul Cullen will be joining me on the row, so great challenge, but only a tiny challenge in comparison to the real challenge, which is a motor neuron disease, which we're trying to raise both money and profile awareness for. So that's our main ambition of the day. We've got the weather for the first time. Leeds was pretty good. Second day yesterday a bit choppy, but today we've got some nice weather. Hopefully get some good pace on the water as well, and get into that last day towards the Wigan DW Stadium.
So that was yesterday, and Scully, you joined him yesterday.
I did, yes. It was a fantastic morning. Great job there that I must admit that Joe Lydon and Phil Clark have done in setting up the Row for Rob. And he said, just raising money, but awareness as well for MND. And lots of players, along the week, joining in. It's been fantastic. And
yeah, you delivered the match ball, didn't you?
Yeah, the match ball's obviously making its way. I did one of the legs, and it'll turn up at Old Trafford tomorrow for game day, making its way all the way from Leeds to Old Trafford. And
I just think it's fantastic, the Super League inviting Rob to hand out the trophy.
Absolutely.
One of the greats of the game.
Yeah,
and now an inspiration.
100%. Yeah, couldn't agree more there, Mark. And there's no more of a fitting person to have that honour. And but it's great that the rugby league community, everyone I know has done something along the way, if not rowing or walking or cycling or running. And it's great rugby league community has come together to help our little mate, to raise funds and awareness. So it's great what Joe and Scully and the boys have done this week.
10 years to the day. That amazing try in 2011. He won the Harry Sunderland Trophy. He'll be handing it out tomorrow night. Who will be handing it out to? We'll discuss that a little later. Right, we're going to leave the grand final from Old Trafford for a moment and talk about a few of the other games. Starting with the League One playoff, Workington versus Doncaster. Now, this is live at 1 o'clock on Sunday. You can watch it on the Sportsman's website or the Our League app as well. So Doncaster came through their semi in dramatic style, beating Keighley in the final seconds of the game. Let's hear from their coach, Richard Horne.
You're always, when you start at a club, you're always looking at how you can make it better, and the playing group was one area that we knew we could improve and build, but it was going to take a bit of time. And like I say, we made 2 semis, fell short in them. And then now, it's an opportunity, and now it's down to the boys to go out there and take it. More relief. I think I'm getting greyer and greyer each week. Every playoff game, God knows what I'm going to be like after the weekend's game. But yeah, look, just looking forward to it now. Can enjoy it a little bit now. It's been really intense the last 3 weeks leading up to this. A little bit now. It's most of the work's been done. It's all about making sure the boys, like I say, are re-energised, ready to go for Sunday's fixture.
There we are. Good luck to Richard Horne and his team. So, Barrow Raiders are promoted. So it's Workington versus Doncaster for the other spot in the Championship. Boss.
Well, I just think Doncaster at the minute, they're a bit like Hull KR in the Super League. They're just riding the wave, aren't they? They're just going about the business, getting the wins. It's going to be tough. I think Workington would be tough proposition, and it's at their home ground, innit? And Barrow, their fellow Cumbrian team has been promoted, so I think Workington would be favourites. But in games like this, anything can come down to anything, a bounce of a ball or referee's decision. So they're going to go confident, and having got out of jail in the semi-final, they could thank themselves lucky to be there. But they're going to go and give it a good shot. But it should be a good game either way.
And if Workington do it, Scully, that would be Barrow, Workington and Whitehaven all in the Championship. Now, we talk about Rugby League expansion and how great it is having the Catalans in the final, but I think we often forget but there's this proper rugby league heartland in Cumbria.
It is a rugby league heartland. There's nobody loves rugby league more than the Cumbrians. You know, we get to spend a bit of time up there, you know, throughout the year, and they are so passionate about the game. So to see all three towns, you know, part of the Betfred Championship and see some rivalry, you know, in them derby games will be tremendous.
Well, that's your starter on Sunday at 1 o'clock, and you can watch that live on the Sportsman or the Our League app. But at 3 o'clock, we've got an absolute cracker, St Helens versus Leeds in the Betfred Women's Super League. Let's get some thoughts from the Saints camp and hear from Jodie Cunningham.
Jodie, in a few days' time, you play for the treble. Nervous, excited, all of the above?
All of the above, yeah. Probably in equal measure. We're really excited. It's what we've built towards all season. We feel absolutely ready, but I think you're not human if you don't have some nerves. It's such a big occasion. It's going to be a record-breaking crowd for a women's game. So, yeah, really, really excited and just can't wait to go.
You said to me at the beginning of the season that the treble was the aim. You must be really pleased that you've kind of got into this situation. Now you're in it. How do you go about beating Leeds?
Yeah, I mean, pressure's on because we've performed really well, so we probably go into this game favourites, and there's added pressure with that. But I think we've sort of dealt with pressure before. Being live on TV was added pressure, and we've managed to perform under those conditions. For us, we just focus on us and not on Leeds. They've got some really dangerous players that we know can do very special things. We've seen them do it week in, week out. For us, our defence has been solid all year. We focus on that, we get that right. I think, you know, we don't have to worry about points on the board. We've got such dynamic try scorers, our centres, our wingers have been on fire all year. So I think for us, yes, we know what Leeds can do, but if we focus on us, then I think we're confident that we can put out a good performance.
And congratulations to Jodie, who was voted a Women of Steel at the Betfred Awards on Monday night. Right then, Scully, you're obviously very, very close to the St Helens Club. And I was talking to Mike Rush, the chief exec, yesterday, and you are just all delighted at Saints how well this women's team are doing.
Yeah, the women have been fantastic, haven't they? You know, they're going for the treble at weekend, and it's going to be a magnificent game. The women's game as a whole has come on leaps and bounds, and you know, it's been absolutely tremendous to watch. And again, you know, what a fitting final. You know, Leeds undefeated this year against the team going for the treble, and I think we're in for a spectacle at weekend.
Yeah.
It's been great how much publicity the women's game's been getting. I think out of all the different teams and people playing rugby league, I think the women's game is growing the fastest, and you know, there's been a few games on our league and that kind of thing, but Scully just hit the nail on the head there, saying the two best teams in the competition, that's what you want to be seeing. I think the men's, they've got the two best teams, and I think the women's, we've got the two best teams as well. So Jodie Cunningham, fantastic on your Woman of Steel, and going for the treble, Leeds undefeated, so it's all adding up to a fantastic contest, and fingers crossed it will be.
And I was at that Challenge Cup final when Saints were superb against York, weren't they?
Yeah, they were fantastic, wasn't they? You know, they've been the form team this year. Up with Leeds, I see you can't go any better than undefeated. And you know, it's funny, the Man of Steel contenders, you know, from the women, were from both clubs. A big part of the England squad is literally littered from both teams. So I think there's just everything to play for come weekend, and I think it'd be a fierce game.
And that is live on Sky, 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, the Betfred Women's Super League final. Then, Sunday evening, you got your third game. It's the £1 million game. It's Toulouse versus Featherstone. It's in Toulouse as well. Everyone's expecting Toulouse to win this. I remember, was it about 3 years ago? Everyone was expecting Toronto to win it, and London Broncos did a job. So we can get a surprise in a £1 million game.
Oh, we can get a surprise, can't we? We've had some dramatic scenes over the £1 million games over the years, and what more to play for than a place in Super League for these clubs? You know, Featherstone, it's been a long time coming, and you know, we talk about Toulouse. They've been fantastic since their introduction into the championship, and fully deserved their place as going into this as favourites.
Well, let's hear from the Featherstone coach. It's James Webster.
Yeah, I think exciting is the right word. We identified at the start of the year, with it being our 100th year, that there was one major goal and one really fun goal that we could have on the side, which was Wembley. So Wembley got tipped off quite early, which was a fantastic occasion for the community. And our major goal and our major focus was always obtaining promotion, not just making the final, but obviously obtaining promotion. We're one step closer to that. So you can say I'm excited with the prospect of being able to put myself up and our team up against the quality side in a really big occasion. You're going to see lots of good athletes on show on the weekend, many that you've seen through Super League throughout the years, many that you'll see next year in other teams in Super League, some that will be future stars of the game, some that were stars of the game in a couple of years ago. So there's a real cross-section of talent, and it just adds to the flavour of this game. Obviously, the magnitude of the result is huge, but if you just break it down and look at the actual talent on hand, it's a mouth-watering prospect to watch these players play.
It was 23-6 to Toulouse back in August against Featherstone. So Toulouse are the favourites on Sunday night. What kind of game can we expect, Matt?
Well, I think home advantage is a huge factor. We know how tough it is going over to the south of France by watching the Catalans, and Toulouse will be no different. And you know that the Featherstone boys won't be used to travelling that frequently. So Toulouse will be favourites. They have got a star-studded side, but Featherstone had a fantastic year. Each and every year they're there or thereabouts. They're up there in the league, so they're going to go there very confident. And I know James Webster's speaking about being excited, and that's part of the battle when you get your boys revved up, and it's going to be a great game. I think I do think Toulouse will get the win, but it's going to be a terrific contest, and that's what you want.
Can Featherstone upset Toulouse?
Of course they can. Anything can happen, can't they, over the 80 minutes? And I think Featherstone have really got to get stuck into Toulouse. You know, they play with flair. You've got to try and stop that. You've got to get off the line and really get in their faces and upset them. You know, take the intensity of this game up, you know, to match what the game is. It's a do or die game. It's for a place in Super League. It's everything to play for. What you've got to do is certainly for the Featherstone players is not look at the prize. You know, look at the process. Just play your sets. You know, play the game. Don't look at and worry about the ending.
And what would it mean if we had two French teams in the Super League?
Yeah, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Just for that local rivalry in France. You know, a lot's been said about rugby league in France this year. It's on a real high, and I think if Toulouse finish the job and get into Super League, I think there'll be some big occasions in 2022.
Let's bring Lewis in. Obviously, a lot of the talk in the next 24 hours is going to be about the grand final, but we've got three other great games to look forward to on Sunday, haven't we?
Oh, we've got four fantastic games across the weekend, haven't we, Mark? Sunday is just an incredible lineup, but it's hard to think that we're stood here talking about finals. It seems like 5 minutes ago we were sat here before the season, and Moss told us all that Warrington were going to win it.
Well, I think if you go back the year before as well, the former Warrington captain.
Definitely next year, Mark.
You won plenty of Challenge Cups when you were Warrington captain, hadn't you?
Yes, that's right. It's just the Super League was the one that got away.
Have you got any questions for him anyway?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of comments. Ethan from YouTube is saying that he thinks Catalans will win. He's backing them to knock Saints off their perch. And then another one saying, go Dragons. Win or lose, it's been a great season. They're hopeful that we'll get a French derby next year. You've just touched on it, but I tell you what, Scully, be a decent game on the field. I reckon it'll be an even better weekend away off it.
Oh mate, it's a great place to go in it. Obviously, I've only ever been to Perpignan watching the Dragons, but throw in Toulouse as well. Two fantastic places in the south of France to go, and the fans will be spoilt next year if Toulouse do the job.
That's the £1 million game. That is on Sunday evening. Let's turn our attention back to Saturday evening. 6 o'clock, live on Sky Sports. It's the Catalan Dragons versus St Helens. Yes, 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Could we see a new name on the trophy in the Catalan Dragons? Could we see St Helens win an 8th grand final or 3 on a bounce. It's going to be a superb final. St Helens are the favourites around 2-5, but this is a grand final, and the Catalan Dragons have been superb all year, winning the regular season. We said it early on, best two teams are in the final, Moss.
Yeah, the best two teams, league leaders and the current reigning Super League champions. So you couldn't have asked for a better grand final. To be honest, I was a bit disappointed with the two semi-finals last week. You know, expected Catalans and Saints to win, but with 20 minutes to go, when you knew who the winner was, as I say, I was disappointed. So let's hope, and I'm sure the grand final will be a lot more evenly contested. And it's been an absolutely lovely day today. But then I checked the weather forecast tomorrow: 6 to late, 60% chance of rain. So it's traditional grand final weather in it. But it's going to be great. Two best teams, and that's the grand final everyone wanted. And great that another team's in there in the Catalan Dragons, and it's all to play for.
Let's talk the Steve Prescott MBE Man of Steel, Sam Tomkins. Congratulations to him. He won it in 2012 and he's picked it up this year. Well, for me, he's been a candidate for weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's been outstanding, Sam, hasn't he? He's a world-class player. And, you know, you talk about Sam winning the award, 9 years ago as well. So it just shows his consistency over that period. And, you know, Sam talks about himself that he's maybe not got the speed and the agility that he had 9 years ago. For me, I think he's a better player. His man management, his game management, his leadership, you know, the way he conducts himself, the way he's bought into, you know, the French culture and really leads that side. But he's a phenomenal footballer. He's got all the attributes, you know, and he's certainly still got plenty of speed and agility. But to go with that, he's got the skill, he's got the kicking game. You know, fully deserving of the Steve Prescott Man of Steel award.
As we sit here right now, we don't definitely know he's going to play, but Steve, we're going to hear from him very shortly, and obviously talks about his fitness. But Steve McNamara said he's very confident that Sam will play tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he had a chance of playing last week, and it was just an educated choice not to play him. But I think the fact that he didn't play last week, I think it wouldn't play him tomorrow unless he was 100% sure he can do a job. And the form he's been in all year, and Steve's a very smart coach. Sam's a very smart player, so they would have got together, and I expect him to have a really big game tomorrow. This could be the pinnacle of a fantastic season for Sam, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes.
I love what Steve McNamara said yesterday when someone said, well, he's not trained. Well, he said he's been training for 26 years. He's been training since he was 6.
Sam Tomkins doesn't need to train week of a grand final. You know, you just need him out there for the 80 minutes. Sam will play, don't worry about that. He'll play. The big question is, can he get through it, and can he be able to play the way he normally plays, you know, with that knee injury. But I'm sure he wouldn't have put himself out there if he can't do at least 80% of what he normally does. And at 80%, Sam Tomkins is still world class.
Well, Sam yesterday only did 2 interviews, one for Sky Sports and the other for Betfred.
Sam, you've been here before, of course, but in different colours. Does it feel the same, or do you feel like you're coming into this as underdogs a little bit unfamiliar to you?
I'm familiar with the place, and in terms of being an underdog, I can't remember if I've been underdog before, but I don't think it really matters too much in a grand final. Both teams capable of winning. Both teams got nothing to lose last game, so really excited about it.
It's a season where you started well and then you've grown and grown into the year. League leaders, of course. You must be pretty confident as a team, the way that you've been playing, that you're ready.
Yeah, we've built some consistency throughout the year. Something that Catalan Dragons are historically no good at, being consistent. So we knew this year's been a little bit different for us. It felt like teams were waiting for us to drop off, and we were also cautious and wary of that. But we managed to get through the season without a drop, and we managed to finish top. So we've got to be confident going into the game, but we also know what a champion team we're playing against.
We got a glimpse of it on Thursday night, just what it means to your supporters and the people in Perpignan and the wider area. How much does it mean to bring the trophy back to the south of France?
Oh, it's huge. You know, the people there are desperate for it. You know, we're a relatively young club in terms of Super League, and it's something that, you know, that there's so many people in the background that deserve this over in Perpignan. So you know, you witnessed it for the semi-final. You know, just how passionate and crazy they are. We've had it this morning before we got on the plane at the airport. Been cheering us away. So to take the trophy back down there will be something really special.
And you're one of the few boys in the team, of course, with Wigan connections. I'm sure you've probably got the town of Wigan behind you as well, with it being against Saints.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely Wigan fans will be behind us, and probably a fans from other clubs. We are the underdogs, so it's always worth getting behind. So hopefully, yeah, there's plenty of Dragon support in here on Saturday.
And the big question, of course, when will the final decision on your fitness and what role you'll play in this final be made?
Right up until the game, but I'm really confident I'll be playing there.
Well, best of luck and enjoy this week, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.
I'm really confident I'll be playing. And look, I don't want to, get into some sort of mind games. I don't think he'd have done an interview either, would he, if he wasn't playing?
No, I wouldn't have done. No, Sam's playing and Sam knows he's playing. Like you say, just a bit of mind skills there, but he's not tried to hide the fact. I think he knows he'll be out there. It's an opportunity that they've played all year for. They've been the most consistent team. He's not going to miss this one.
And what does he bring to this Catalan side?
Well, I think this has arguably been his best year as a player. When he was at Wigan, he was fantastic. Went down under and then come back, and then he didn't quite hit the form when he come back as he did when he left. But I think he's been absolutely incredible this year. Just Scully mentioned before, he might be, lacking a bit in pace of some of previous years, but he's a lot more experienced and he's got a lot more rugby league brain now, and he just guides his team around the park, and very cool, calm, collected decision making, and he's been. It's no surprise that he's had a great year, and the Catalans have had a great year. They're going hand in hand, and they're desperate for him to play. He's certainly going to play. I like what Scully said, and he's been great.
He's won it 3 times, and you mentioned it. It's pretty impressive, isn't it, to win the Man of Steel? I know you won it 2 years on the bounce. The only man to win it 2 years on the bounce. Don't worry. But to win it in 2012 and then win it 9 years later, that is pretty impressive. It
is impressive. It shows consistency within his performance and what a class player is, and how he's evolved as a player. Like you said, from being that out and out running fullback to somebody who now he can equally fit in at half back and run the show. He's a smart footballer. Sam riles a lot of opposition fans, and for me, that's a mark of respect for a player. But you wouldn't meet a more humble guy. He's such a good fella, and you see that the respect when his teammates speak about him. And that's, for me, is one of his biggest strengths in his game.
And he's really embraced life in the south of France.
He has, yeah. I mean, Super League did an excellent interview with him, didn't they, at his house, and the way he spoke about it and the way he's bought into their culture. His family love it. He's just he's a great footballer and enjoying what he does.
Well, the fans have really embraced this Catalan side as well. They've got a great send-off at the airport. It was full last week for their semi-final against Hull KR. Let's hear from Steve McNamara talking about the fans in France. And we've seen the pictures from Perpignan. The atmosphere's been incredible, hasn't it?
It's blown us away. I mean, it's a completely different atmosphere. I think Brian Carney, he mentioned it's like a football night in Galatasaray, Istanbul. One of those sort of Latin fireworks, flares, and just phenomenal. The support that we've received, and the people of Catalan are ferociously protective of their area, and they'll support anything. And we've got more than just rugby league fans supporting us this weekend.
It is brilliant, and the send-off they got from the airport was brilliant.
Fantastic. Steve touched on it there. They're so passionate and very, very, very patriotic. The Catalonian people. So fantastic. Rugby league is a huge sport over there, and it's a massive boost to the French rugby league over there. So they'll be going confident, and this could be they've won the Challenge Cup, won the league leaders. This is next on the list to get the grand final into it.
I mean, I was lucky enough to be at the new camp when they played Wigan, and the atmosphere then was just fantastic.
Yeah, it was electric, wasn't it? Funny Macca says then about it, it sounded like a European night on, in football, and I thought that myself, when you see the flares, and they are just it's a different culture over there, and they've not had that opportunity to shout about it like they have this year. So I'm sure the French fans will be open for one more performance and to be able to replicate them celebrations.
What is the key to them doing it?
The key is they've got to absolutely rip into Saints. They did it in the Challenge Cup semi-final a few years ago, completely unsettled Saints.
Right,
straight
as soon
from
as the whistle goes.
Yeah, as soon as the whistle goes. And that's the way you've got to do it. You look at, we've spoke about it so many times over this year, the way that the back five carry the ball for Saints and get them on that front foot. They all run with pace, with intensity. And it's difficult to stop, and that's when you get the big fellas like of Matty Lees and Alex Walmsley on the back of that. Saints are a tough team to stop. you've got to be able to stop that, and that comes from defensive line, being aggressive and getting in the faces.
Yeah, well, I think the fact that Catalans have beat Saints twice this year, that will be in their memory banks. But I agree with Scully. You need to stop the outside backs getting in and causing the damage. I think Alex Warner's been the best front rower in the competition over the last few years, actually, but particularly this year. So they need to stop Big Alex. But if you can't get excited and revved up for a grand final, you can't get excited for any game at all. So league leaders, they're going to come over confident, but they've got a chance. Saints' defence is absolutely fantastic, so they need to throw a bit at the Catalans. But Steve McNamara is a very astute coach, so it will have primed them well, and they're going to give it a good shot.
I think the challenge for Catalan and me is being able to do it for 80 minutes. You know, we speak about the athleticism of the Saints team, the fitness, and
Saints are the fittest team, aren't they?
And they look it, and they can do that, but they can also adapt to, you know, when things are going, they can play football as well, and that's the challenge for Catalan, is to be able to upset them, you know, get stuck into Saints, but consistently do that, and then be able to create things for themselves and score points.
So if Catalans are going to go and win, do they need to be ahead at half time then?
They don't need to be ahead. They need to be in the game. That's the big one, because we've seen many a time that Saints can blow teams away if they don't start well. You know, Saints can get on that roll, and it's difficult to stop. And then, as Mod said, not only are they great on attack, but they've got a real strong defence, and to be able to score so many points when you're chasing a game is very, very difficult against a side like St Helens.
And Steve McNamara's team chat's quite easy, isn't it? It's go and make history, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they've made history so far this year by getting the League Leaders Shield and making a grand final, but you know, there's a bit more history to be wrote there. And you mentioned the players who've already played in grand finals. They've got these big game experience, so they'll be invaluable to the Catalan Dragons. And just such an exciting week. You know, the build-up, all the press, and I think the boys will enjoy it, and they'll certainly enjoy Saturday night. I can guarantee that.
Before we move on, a word on James Maloney.
Fantastic, you know, what an incredible career. Won an NRL grand final, and this could be a fantastic swan song for James Maloney. He's the general. I mean, we've mentioned Sam Tomkins, he's been outstanding, but James Maloney's not been a far behind him either. Yeah,
and the grand final, he will be a massive player for them, because if the weather is wet, you know, his kicking game comes into play, and it's
most drop goals this year.
Yeah,
could be another goal point.
But his field kicking and about, you know, applying pressure on that Saints team. You know, the kicking game could be instrumental, and you know, James Maloney is one of the best. And you know, a lot of people don't see with James Morley is his physicality as well. You know, he's got a bit of a grub reputation of, you know, pushing the boundaries in regards to you know, giving penalties away and what have you. He gets stuck in. He's not just a ball playing halfback. You know, he gets stuck in, and you know, you see that in games. So he's a massive player for Catalan. He needs to be on his A game tomorrow.
Keep sending in your comments on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as well. I'll come to Lewis in a moment, who got some questions for the fellas. But first of all, Lewis caught up with Steve Brady from Catalans Media to get all the hype and excitement from Perpignan.
Well, Steve, thank you for joining us from France. What a remarkable weekend for rugby league in France.
Bonjour. I'm not actually French. English guy here reporting on the game, and the busiest and most exciting and colourful period I've experienced. We've lived here for 5 years now, and we've sensed the growth, obviously, with Catalans, but with the Toulouse, what a awesome coincidence for Toulouse to rise as they have. I know they haven't got into Super League yet, but just imagine if Catalan Dragons won the Super League grand final, and 24 hours later Toulouse win their grand final and get into Super League. I'm going to be pretty busy writing reports and features and bits and bobs for the next, 12 months or so.
I like most people over here, I watched the game on Sky, the semi-final, and the atmosphere and the colour and everything that was going on in a packed-out Stade Gilbert Brutus. It just looked incredible.
I've been lucky enough to see the Wigan v Manly game back in 1987, and I went to Brisbane when Wigan beat the Broncos for the World Club Challenge. So, and all the Wembleys I've seen, of course, and many grand finals, most of them. I've never witnessed anything like that at the Brutus. Even Steve Max told me, he said, you know, I've been around the world a bit. I've seen some games, and it's not the biggest stadium, and it's not grand or humongous, but the passion that was showed last Thursday, genuinely, it was moving. And even the journalists, the hard-bitten journalists in the back were dancing away, and I put some video online there of French journalists dancing and just buying into it. No negativity, 100% positivity. And those people in that stadium are so grateful for how things have developed there. They're like naive puppies with their eyes wide open, thinking, has this really happened? And the way that the club put the fireworks in time, the music, and it was absolutely perfect. And I don't think you could do that in England. I don't think you've got that kind of Latin spirit or Mediterranean view on things. There was a real love for the game last Thursday, and it genuinely moved me.
There's a real love. They've clearly captured an area, haven't they?
It's ours, yeah. There's nobody more passionate than Steve. He threw me a challenge on Twitter this week.
Right, go on, what is it?
Just to, obviously he's back in Catalan, I'm back in Saints, so we've had a nice bottle of red on it, and let's hope I win, because I'm sure his red's a lot better than mine.
Come on, can they do it?
Of course they can do it, yeah. Any game, when there's two teams there, anyone can get the win. But I do feel Saints are favourites, but I can't agree with this guy. I'm going to go with the underdogs. I think just the way that they're on a great vein of form, league leaders, very consistent, and you mentioned before about making history. This could be another team outside of the four teams to get their hands on the Super League trophy, and I just think it's a great story for French Rugby League, and I think they could sneak it, yeah.
Yeah, look, I think we've got the handicap wrong. We're giving Catalans 8-point start. I think that's wrong. I think it's going to be closer now. What are our viewers saying, Lewis?
Well, there's one on YouTube. The account name is St Helens Best Team in the World. So I think we can probably guess who they're backing. They're going for a scoreline of St Helens 50, Catalan Dragons 12 on Saturday. Now, I disagree that it's going to be that wide a margin. I think it's going to be quite a close game. I do think it might buck the trend of recent grand finals and be quite a high-scoring game. I don't know what the fellas think, but also we've got another one from Martin Slater, who says, if it rains, do you think that benefits Saints more? Now, I think Moz nominated himself as our resident weatherman earlier in the show, so I'll throw this one to you, Moz.
Well, the Catalan boys train in the heat and the dry pitches all the time, so I think it would probably suit St Helens more if it does rain. And well, let's face it, it's going to rain. It's grand final night after all. So, but it won't make a huge difference to either team. I wouldn't imagine.
Right, you've been waiting a while. We're going to talk about Saints now, okay? So we're going to talk about Saints in detail. Starting, we're hearing from their coach in his second season. He won it in his first season in dramatic circumstances last year. Let's hear from Kristian Woolf.
Kristian, you were here this time last year, but this must feel very, very different. It's a grand final at Old Trafford. How's the excitement levels? How's the nerves?
Yeah, look, excitement levels very high, very relaxed, to be honest. And it is a bit different from last year. Obviously, we weren't having press conferences last year, and everything was on Zoom. And for us, it made it a bit easier. It was probably a good thing. But knowing that we're coming to such an iconic stadium, and knowing that we're going to have a really healthy crowd here, and everything that the crowd brings, and also knowing that we're going to have a lot of our fans here, and I know that a lot of neutrals might go and support the Catalans, and we certainly hope they do. It's great to know that we're going to have a really healthy group of our fans here, and everything that they bring as well. So, as I said, it's all excitement.
Take it back to about 2 years when you first started talking to St Helens about the possibility of coming over and coaching. Was it days like Saturday that won you over, the opportunity to coach in these events?
Oh, look, it's I wouldn't say won me over, but it's certainly when you talk about St Helens, you know that they tend to put themselves in a position to play in the big games. And being able to come over here, and obviously I've been able to watch grand finals and Challenge Cup finals and things like that on TV for a number of years, and see the crowds and the way that the crowds handle themselves over here is outstanding, and a real point of difference to Australia as well. The singing and the banter that goes on between the groups and all that kind of thing. And I've always sat there in awe and thought that I'd love to be a part of that, and to get that opportunity is outstanding personally. But at the end of the day, it's about the players and what they put on the field, and I think we can all expect a really good game of footy.
Right, Scully, we've got 10 minutes left for a St Helens loving. First of all, it's the first time I've met him properly yesterday. What a nice fella.
He's a great
but
fella.
Clearly doing a very good job, very focused.
He is very focused, and he's a very, very good coach, as we've seen over the past couple of years. But I think he's probably his job's done now. He knows his players are prepared. They know what they've got to do. The players know what's expected. How much more can Kristian Woolf do? Before tomorrow. you know, he said he's nice and relaxed, probably because he knows that it's all in hand, and if the players perform, I think they pick up the trophy.
And last year, obviously, he came in after Justin Holbrook. Justin was very, very popular, wasn't he? He started with the Saints, global pandemic. He got them to that final at the KCOM. Unbelievable final.
Yeah.
What a job he did last year.
Yeah.
And then to follow it up this year, get him to the grand final.
Yeah, he's done a remarkable job, hasn't he? And it was a tough act to follow because Justin Holbrook, you know, the success that he had, the way he was admired by all the, you know, the Saints fans and the players alike. And Kristian come in and he did change things and probably unsettle things for a while. But you know, he's there. He's his own coach, and you know, he wanted things done his way, which is rightly so. But it's proven a big success, and you know, obviously with Paul Wellens underneath him, as experienced as he is, you know, as his assistant, and I just think they've got a fantastic team. You know, I don't see any weak links in that team, and if they perform, and we've said it before, I think if Saints are at the best and Catalan are at the best, Saints' best is better.
Can you do 3 and a bounce?
Yeah, they can.
And what would it mean, 3 and a bounce? Leeds have done it before, but what would 3 and a bounce mean for
Saints?
Saints?
I mean, there's nothing better than being good, but being consistently good as well. And I think backing it up 3 years running, it'd be a remarkable achievement. You know, we were fortunate to be there last year in that grand final at Hull, and to say the stadium was empty, it was an unbelievable atmosphere, wasn't it? And that finish, to be able to back that up this year with you know, some of the performances, and then to get to Old Trafford and finish it. But there's a tough 80 minutes in hand, and Saints have got to be on the game because Catalan will come at them.
Has Kristian Woolf made Saints better defensively, Moz?
Yes, I think you know, there was always a great attack under Justin Holbrook. Yeah, sorry. And
he was one of your mates in Australia.
He was, yeah, played with him. Yeah, I forgot his name already. But no, the attack was always fantastic, and but I think under Kristian, he's also kept the attack very, very sharp. But the defence, I think, definitely got the best defence in Super League, and I think this is one of the best Saints team I've ever seen out of the full history of Super League. It's absolutely fantastic. I think you mentioned they won it the last 2 years on the bounce. I think the year before they was the best team all year, but then they didn't quite make the grand final or win it. So they've been so consistent over the last few years, and Kristian has added to that, and fantastic defence, great attack, and they're going to be some very tough opposition for the Catalan Dragons. I thought they're absolutely outstanding against Leeds. Didn't give Leeds a chance last week, and I just thought...
They're relentless.
Yeah,
I mean, they could have took the foot off the gas in the last 10 minutes.
I just thought, you know, any team in Super League that they would have blown away that night. They need to get it right tomorrow night, but it's going to be a very, very tough task for the Dragons.
Maybe that's something they learned from that Catalan game in Magic, of not taking your foot off the gas, because you know, you can do it in games like that. You're still going to win. They were still going to beat Leeds if they'd have turned off for that last 10-15 minutes. But it's the mentality that you take into the next game.
So Magic was maybe a good thing.
So yeah, I'm sure. You know, they won't dwell on that at all. You know, it was just a blip of 5 minutes, and take no credit away from Catalan. But Saints won't dwell on that. You know, what they'll do is say, we've just got to finish the job. We've got to play for the full 80 minutes, and they certainly did that against Leeds last week.
You're obviously steeped in the Saints, but how good is James Roby?
He's unreal, isn't he?
He's 36 soon.
Yeah, I mean,
he's playing like he's 26.
He was as good as we've ever seen him the other night against Leeds. You know, just everything he does. You know, you've never seen James Roby play under 8, 9 out of 10. You know, if James Roby has an 8 out of 10, he's had an average game. It's just a standard that he sets him, but he just does everything right, and he's just a phenomenal athlete. He reads the game well. You know, he's even added a kicking game into his repertoire. You know, the last couple of years, and put a good couple of kicks in against Leeds in the semi-final. But yeah, you know, and he'll be one. He doesn't say a lot, James. He leads the way, you know, with his own performance and his own standards, and I think players respect that and they follow.
Won it in 2006. Obviously, experienced losing 5 on the bounce or whatever, and then done it again in 2014. Done it last 2 years. I mean, he could have his 5th grand final ring tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm sure James Roby's got his heart set on that. You know, he's already called retirement after the end of 2022. He's already retired from international football. You know, he knows what he wants to achieve over these next 12, 14 months, and yeah, just a phenomenal player and a great role model for any young player within our game.
Well, let's hear from the Saints skipper he spoke to, Lewis.
James, the opportunity to do a three-peat doesn't come around very often. How determined are you to make the most of it on Saturday night?
Yeah, definitely. I suppose this, the term three-peat keeps getting thrown at us, and we're obviously really aware of that. And it's been a long time coming. I suppose there's a lot of hard work, a lot of effort and dedication, and people involved in going on to potentially achieve that. And we've been doing the right thing now for a good number of years, and put ourselves, with a really good opportunity here on Saturday night. So really looking forward to it, and I'm confident that if we play how we know we can play and perform as we normally do, then it could be a great night for us. But like you say, that to go on and potentially achieve the three-peat or three in a row, it would be absolutely amazing, because I don't think it really gets done across sport in general.
And now that you kind of seem to have put an end point on your career, looking at the end of next season, do you start to appreciate days like today more? Did you kind of try to soak it in and soak this weekend in a bit more, because you know that the opportunities are not going to be many more of them to come?
Yes, like you said, again, definitely. I know that this potentially may be my last final if we don't get here next year. Or you can't see the future. You don't know whatever may happen with injuries or form or anything like that. So yeah, it's I've got to take it for what it is, and I've got a chance, obviously, to captain a team to three in a row on Saturday night, which would be unbelievable, obviously for myself, but also more importantly for the town and the club in general. So yeah, I'm going to savour it while it's here, take it all in, try and remember stuff like this. Even days like today, coming doing the press here, it's it's special things that you'll never get to come and just walk on Man United's pitch again. So really grateful for these opportunities, and got to savour it while it lasts.
Well, enjoy these next few days, mate, and best of luck.
Cheers, thank you.
Top man James Roby. Right then, Lewis, could he win the Harry Sunderland Trophy tomorrow?
Yeah, he's got a good chance, hasn't he, Mark? He's 8-1 in the betting. You're never far away. I think, as Scully alluded to him putting in an 8 or 9 out of 10 performance. Some of the other contenders in there, Lachlan Coote in his last game for Saints, could he pull out one last outstanding performance to see them over the line? James Maloney, we've talked about him, of course. He's in at 9-1, but an interesting one. And Moz will tell you, this forwards tend not to win this award, but Alex Walmsley, arguably the best player of the competition this year, 9-1 seems like good value for him to have an absolute stormer.
Yeah. He stands out to me. Yeah, 9-1, Alex Walmsley.
He nearly got it a couple of years ago, but the other front rower, Thompson, he pipped him. But with the season he's had, Walmsley, you won't argue against him getting man of the match, but no way.
Right, we're running out of time. We've just got a bit of news away from the grand final, and it's good news because we've been sponsoring this brilliant competition since 2017, and we're going absolutely nowhere. We're sponsoring it for at least another 2 years.
Here we go. 2017 is underway. I wonder what twists and turns are along the road to Old Trafford. He has kicked it, Luke Gale! Luke Gale takes Castleford Tigers to Old Trafford in the most dramatic of circumstances. Maguire swoops. Maguire scores the try for the Rhinos. The Rhinos are the Super League champions again in 2017. Manfredi! Dominic Manfredi wins the grand final for Wigan. Wins the dream fairy tale ending for Sean Wayne.
I cannot believe we are at such an iconic stadium playing the greatest game of rugby league.
Ball is bobbed up for David Mead, and Mead is going to wrap this one up with his second try of the game. Salutes the crowd. And Hastings has left it till last to show his class and sew this game up for the Salford Red Devils.
3/4 of Old Trafford will be cheering this Salford side on.
They pass the ball back on the inside, and Zete gets the second try of the game. Wow, it has taken 10 months to get here, but after a season of turmoil, sacrifice, and at times desperation, Super League has reached its finale. Oh, he's hit the post, the chasers are on, the ball is disappeared. It's Wellesby and St Helens are champions once again. This is amazing, with the roar of a crowd ringing round the stadium. It's quite something to hear after so many games, with just the voices of the players and the coaches echoing round the ground. Blood and gold will be flying high at Old Trafford because the Catalan Dragons will be there. Grace, and Grace will cut infield. He will leave Leeds trailing in his wake, and he will round up this victory. And Saints are going to Old Trafford.
At least another 2 years of the Betfred Super League as well. Can I just take this opportunity to thank everyone at the Super League, especially Rodri Jones, all the players, the coaches, the officials, and most importantly, you the fans. And we're going to have fans there tomorrow. And I tell you what, some of the meetings I was in January, February, March this year, I didn't think we were even going to have fans at Old Trafford for the grand final. It's just brilliant that we're going to have fans tomorrow, Scully, because sport is nothing without fans.
It's exactly that, and it's about the fans, it's about the occasion, it's about the atmosphere, and thankfully we're going to get that tomorrow, as you say. If you were looking back 12 months ago, I'm saying we were going to get however many at Old Trafford, you know, passionate fans for two of the best teams with the handoff, weren't we? So really, really excited, and obviously got to add as well, great to see Betfred extend, you know, their relationship with Super League. It's been fantastic, and I know obviously yourselves, you've really immersed into rugby league, and you get a lot of sponsors who are, you know, they put the money in, but Betfred have been so proactive with the game.
I'll slip you a tenner later. Cheers. Mars, you'd have been rubbish behind closed doors, wouldn't you?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, the fans and the interaction, and it's great. You know, the pinnacle of our sport, the pinnacle of Super League tomorrow, the two best teams at Old Trafford with crowd. Very, very excited. Can't wait, Mark.
Right, we're running out of time. Lewis, any final comments before we go?
Oh, just a lot of people looking forward to this game, Mark. You know, we've spoken about the crowd. Isn't it good to be excited about this again? Last year it was a real tonic having that game in lockdown, but these gents will tell you nothing like a full crowd at Old Trafford, is it?
No. And good luck to the teams in the League One playoff. That's live on the Sportsman and Our League app. Good luck to Saints and Leeds in the Women's Super League final. And good luck to Toronto and Featherstone in the £1 million game on Sunday. Toulouse, of course. Toronto was 2 years ago. We won't go there. We haven't got time to talk about Toronto. That's a different programme. Toulouse versus Featherstone on Sunday night. Right then, fellas. Who wins the big one? What a stupid question.
Yeah, I've got to go for I've got to go for a Saints win.
My mind says Saints, but my heart says Catalans. I'm going to go with the upset, Catalans, and a tight one.
Whatever happens, it's going to be a brilliant occasion. It's live on Sky, 6 o'clock tomorrow night. It's the Catalan Dragons versus St Helens. Thanks for watching and enjoy the action this weekend.
St Helens champions once again.